Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Wingin It. If this is your first time here, every week I'm talking with a different business owner, learning a little bit about business and hopefully helping you wing it just a little bit less. Today I'm super excited. I'm chatting with Rob Allred, who's the owner of PRT Builders here in Cedar City. They do commercial construction. They've been here since 2017. And so Rob's been around the block a little bit. He's learned some things, he's building a business, he's hired people. And so we're gonna dive into a lot of those kinds of things. I'm super excited. Rob, thank you so much for having me today.
Hey, thanks for coming. We appreciate it, Tommy.
Well, Rob, let's just jump into it. Tell people a little bit about PRT Builders, what made you start your own company, and tell people a little bit about what you guys like to do, what you specialize in, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So really the reason we started PRT Builders, I've been in construction 17 years, but we started PRT Builders in 2017. Really our purpose behind it was we wanted to change the experience in construction, because as a subcontractor, we were always beholden to whatever the other general contractors were, and there's good ones, there's not good ones, and so we wanted to change that experience. We wanted both for the customer that's wanting the project built and for the other subcontractors and trade partners. So that's really the reason we started PRT. Yeah, was the vision. Hey, I think we can change that experience. It can be a good experience. It doesn't have to be miserable when someone wants to, oh no, I have to build this project and it's going to, be a lot of stress. So yeah, our goal is to, take some of those pressures off you and hopefully make it an enjoyable experience.
Yeah. And I know you guys specialize in the commercial side specifically. Yeah. What did you guys see kind of was the opportunity there? Why did you choose to say, hey, instead of a residential builder, or hey, why did you choose to kind of specialize in the commercial route?
Yeah. So we were already in the commercial space as a subcontractor. So ultimately, our expertise is on the commercial side, and just didn't really have a desire to go into the residential market. Yeah, people can be successful at it. It's a good market, but that just wasn't our forte.
That's awesome. So, and I know something that's kind of not necessarily unique to you guys, but something that's of note is you don't just work in southern Utah. You've had projects in northern Utah and even a little bit out of the state, and starting to tackle some pretty cool projects. Tell people, some of your highlight reel, I guess, that they can find for you.
Yeah, no, it's, as a general contractor, you get a wide range of projects on the commercial side, and it is a lot of fun. Some of them, they challenge you. Each project can challenge you in a new way. Yeah. From, manufacturing, where, the equipment hookups and the sizing of the piping and everything is so critical, to, it could be a fish hatchery or a maintenance shop, or, a new maintenance building at a treatment plant. Mm-hmm. And so each project has its own risks, but it can be rewarding. Yeah. As you come up with a plan, this is how we're going to build it, this is how we're going to manage it, and then there again back to that experience. How can we make this a good experience for the owner and for the subcontractors? Because a lot of times it feels like in contracting you get certain contractors that will steer towards one side of the street or the other. Yeah. Right? So I understand the customer is always right mentality. Mm-hmm. But as a general contractor, it is our role to kind of be in the middle of the road. Yeah. To bring the customer and the partners together, the trade partners, the subcontractors, and build that and make that a success. Yeah. So it's enjoyable. Some of the unique projects we've done. So we've done a gas station, actually one in Montana. And that one had a lot of its own challenges, because it had its own sewer treatment plant and its own water facility. The wells, everything was managed all on site. Okay. So it had a lot of unique challenges to it. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
A lot of fun that way. So we've done some park projects, and those have been quite a bit of fun. We did the Cedar City pickleball courts right here.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Another one, hopefully, people, locals here in Cedar, enjoying it. We built the KJ's Ice Barn here in Enoch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Just kind of an interesting side note, the piping that goes into the floor that cools that ice.
Yeah.
There's over 30 miles of it.
Really?
In that floor.
It makes sense because you got to keep ice cold all day, every day.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, each project is unique, and you get more education each time you build it.
Yeah.
And it's helping the owners through challenges, A lot of times we see issues with, there's let's say a gray area in the design. Our goal is to be proactive, anticipate. If we can, we try to look at that at the bid phase.
Yeah.
And catch that, because owners hate change orders.
Yep.
And they're not a lot of fun for anybody, but we can mitigate that, help an owner through that, and make it a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to go back to kind of what you said, where as a general contractor, you're kind of riding the line, and you're that middleman between the client and your subcontractors, and ultimately all three parties working together to get the end result.
Oh, yeah.
And as a business owner, I resonate with that, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. Like you said, people say the customer's always right, and I think that there's merit to that. But the way that I see that is, for me as the business owner, I take care of my people, right? Like, I take care of my employees. I try to pay them well. Today I'm taking them to a concert down at the county fair. Like, I'm trying to take care of them and build a good culture, because then they're going to take care of the client.
Yeah.
And so for you, where a subcontractor isn't necessarily your employee, but I think the principle applies still. So what are some things that you've learned about kind of managing that side of the subcontractors? How do you, support them through the project and be there in that same way to hopefully apply that same principle on the back end?
Right. So ultimately, just like as an employer, you'd want to treat your employees. I mean, as a leader, our job is to take care of our employees.
Yeah.
Really, first. And then we take care of the customer.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we have to take care of the customer in order to take care of the employees. So it's a balance there. But the same principle really applies to a subcontractor. Because ultimately, if I take good care of my employees, if I train our employees, take good care of our subcontractor base, they'll treat us right on price.
Yep.
They'll do a good job. They'll want to show up to work. They'll want to keep their commitments. If we set a schedule, get their feedback and their buy-in in it, and say, how can we be proactive and make this a better experience for you? Because ultimately, if you help a subcontractor be productive, proactive, and successful, he's going to make more money.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he'll want to do your jobs. Just like an employee will want to work for you if you're helping them succeed in, whatever level that they're shooting for.
Yeah.
If they're wanting to climb up the ladder in the business, they want to grow. Perhaps you're hiring them today, but they're like, hey, my goal is I want to be a project manager in 3 or 5 years, or whatever that goal is.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, let's start here and let's train you. Once you're ready, then we can help you, move up into that position.
Yeah. And I think that part's really important, because it's important to know what is the end goal of that employee. Yeah. You talk to people, and some of them are very driven, and they want to be a project manager, or they want to go even higher than that. And then it's important to know that you have, hey, I have an individual that's really driven. It's also important to know, hey, I have somebody here that has no desire to be a leader.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you as the employer are always like, hey, we'd love to have you in leadership, and that gentle nudge even, it can put them off almost to be like, no, that's not what I want at all.
Right. No, I think helping subcontractors, employees with with the experience. And we can do it with, number one, hey, what are their pressures? What are their concerns? How can we help you with tools that you can work through that? So that's help take the pressure off of them.
Yeah.
So that they're feeling like, hey, you're here to help me, not dump more on me.
Or it's not just a paycheck relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, we get a lot of satisfaction, and ultimately, as a contractor, we're not naive to fact that it's a very competitive market.
Yep.
Right? And there could be a good chance that, hey, we're training up our competitors.
Yeah.
They could go start their own business, and hey, good for them. If that's, I tell my employees all the time, if eventually running your own business or whatever that is the best for you, I want that for you.
Yeah.
And let's teach you how to be a good employee. Let's teach you how to be good at your job so that you can run your own company successful if you so choose to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really, I think, the reward. You might say, as an entrepreneur, what's the reward you get on it? It's really, benefiting and improving the lives of those around you.
Yeah.
As a leader, a lot of times it comes with added stress and pressures, right? Because I guess a lot of times we put on our back, like, hey, if somebody's got some pressures or some pains, they got something going on at home, sometimes our knee-jerk reaction is we want to go in and help out, which is good. We want to help them with that. And ultimately, we have to build systems and processes so that, hey, there's only so much that you can take on as a leader. And so we do have to find a way to train people so that person can train the next person.
Yeah.
So you're, learning to replace yourself, but at the same time, being there for whether he's a laborer on the job or, a project manager or an operations manager. Yeah. You treat them all the same. You treat them respectfully. You're there for them. If they have a need, you can answer your phone. That's a big part of who we are, and we try to, be there for both employees and for customers.
Yeah.
On both levels.
You're saying you're supposed to answer your phone when you're a contractor? Is that a thing?
Well, yes. and that's something obviously we stress with our employees and we want to set us apart from the competition, because it is a frustration when you need something and you reach out and no answer, and that happens for days and days. And people go on vacations, or sometimes there's reasons why, but if it's just, hey, they have a problem, and they don't have an answer, and so they won't answer your phone. A lot of times as a contractor, every project is going to have some sort of problem come up. It will. And so we have to be problem solvers. And I think how we solve those problems is through communication. Yeah. Because, whether, hey, there's a wall in the wrong spot, the architect forgot, he didn't coordinate with the mechanical engineer, and the pipe showed it here and the wall showed it there. And we deal with that thing on a regular basis. We work hard to be proactive and catch that, at the blueprint level, and hopefully prevent it so it's not a fix in the field. Yeah. But we do work really hard with all of the partners, architects, engineers, owners, subcontractors. Hey, here's the problem that we're faced with today. Let's find a solution for it. What is the best solution for it? Yeah. Obviously, the owner's concerned about cost. We're concerned about schedule. The subcontractor, is worried that, hey, am I going to get paid for this if this is a change? Yeah. Everybody has their concerns. And I think how we handle ourselves with that issue tells about our character, tells who we are as a company. Definitely. Because every project will have a little something come up. Yeah. It could be at permits. It could be, at the end of the project. Something was overlooked with, like I said, it could be the smallest thing. Yeah. Oh, the architect forgot to put the, this machine schematic, and so we didn't know that the machine was 5 foot over from that side, and we put the pipe where it showed on the drawing, thinking that was the right spot. So little things like that, but I think as we work through that and come up with solutions and how we communicate with that, and I think it's important in our business to have a little fun doing it. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit of a joker. So people that know me, I definitely like to joke around, maybe a little too much.
I think it's better that way than the other way.
Right.
Keeps it light.
So, I mean, there's a time we need to be serious, but ultimately, let's have fun doing what we do. Even though the matters we're dealing with today could be a serious topic, let's find a way to do it pleasant. And, let's be a team player. We don't need to take things personal, meaning, hey, if somebody is frustrated and, a comment comes out that, hey, that's not how we want to do it, or the subcontractor's frustrated with it slowing him down. And I think, hey, well, here's how we're going to handle it so we can keep you moving, but also get the owner what he needs. So let's shift gears. Let's come at it with this approach. And I think we can hopefully make it to where it's a win-win. So both parties win.
We're talking a lot about challenges here, and I love that. Is there one that comes to mind? Since 2017, we've had COVID, we've had, I think a lot of changes in the world and the way that things look. What would you say has been the biggest challenge that you guys have had to face, and what did you do strategically to kind of overcome that?
Well, it's proven that the craftsmen in the construction industry are getting older and older, right? And so there's major challenges in we're getting workforce. So the workforce that does come in, maybe they're not as experienced. And I think how we can help educate them through trade schools, through workshops, and so a lot of the colleges are helping with some of that. I think, but I think the pendulum hasn't swung enough the other way, and I think so. There's the workforce issue. We've also seen some issues on the design. It feels like perhaps maybe the designers are a little overworked, and so we're getting a little more conflict in the designs. Maybe, in a few years from now, AI will fix all that problems. I don't know. But ultimately, we work hard with those, like I said, so there's the workforce issue, and you get, new faces coming in. How do we, make sure they're safe? So we make sure they're trained, make sure they're safe on our jobs. But then working them through problems perhaps that they've never seen before. And nobody wants to feel like they're the new guy on the block. Like, hey, very rarely do they say, hey, I've never done that before. Where if they would just be honest and say, hey, will you help me work through this? I'm a little new. I work for I'm a newer plumber. I'm whatever it is. I'm a newer framer. I don't want to pick on plumbers. But I'm just saying that every industry, every trade is dealing with that. And so they're trying to keep the workforce at the level that for the demand, right? And we
keep the quality
and
to where
keep
you need
the quality where it needs to be is a big challenge. So one way we challenge that or we meet that challenge is that we do coordination with designers, but also with the trade, the subcontractors, with what we call pre-install meetings. Like, hey, we're getting ready to do overhead. So before we put one pipe of overhead in, like whether it's HVAC or electrical or fire sprinkler or any of the trades, hey, let's come together and let's coordinate on this before the fire sprinkler guy comes in and realizes that there's something in his way. He can't run his pipe where he needs to. So we work hard to, you might say, over-communicate, bring the teams together. Some of the guys feel like, oh, this is a waste of my time. I know how to do my job. But, hey, if we've brought you in and communicated it, now, hopefully, we're we've anticipated and eliminated the conflict.
Yeah.
So if there's an issue, the sprinkler guy may say this, and the HVAC guy may say that. Hey, but let me solve that.
Let's address it before there's any material.
Exactly.
On
Let's
the build.
solve it today.
Yeah.
Before you step foot on the job, so that when you show up, you guys are productive.
Yep.
Now we're not waiting for material because you had to go get a change.
Yeah.
You didn't have the parts to make that. So, and hopefully as we get because we want to hire professionals in their own trade, the subcontractor, the electrician, you know, the HVAC guys. Hey, give us feedback and let's be proactive and go through that process so that, hey, if I need something from the design team, we don't have to love his drawings, but let's coordinate with it and be proactive with it. So I think that's a lot of what we work hard with. You know, that's a big challenge we see and how we meet that challenge is just communication, training, and being as proactive as we know how to be on.
Yeah, well, and I love that idea because it's like your idea, your way to solve that is we have a meeting, which feels like a duh kind of a thing almost, right? But it is a unique thing, I think, in your industry to say, hey, before we're doing anything, you know, our HVAC guy is going to look at these plans with a different set of eyes than our plumber or our electrician or whoever. So we're all going to sit down, look at the plans, make sure we're all on the same page, and make sure we're not going to be stepping on each other's toes. Yeah. And, you know, like you said, it's a lot easier to sit down and do it now and coordinate a little bit for half an hour or an hour versus, oh, now we're behind timeline because we got to rip something out for 2 days and fix it.
Yep.
And so I, you know, again, it's not a groundbreaking thing, but a lot of times in business, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Right. It's like just have that communication, have that quick meeting, and it sounds like that's made a big difference for you since you implemented it.
Yeah, there's no question in construction and in contracting, general contracting on the commercial side especially, there's just a lot of code issues and things you've got to watch for. As much as we can catch and be proactive on the front end, saves you so much time and money on the tail end. Yeah. Both for the customer and for the subcontractors. Yeah. And so the other thing we try to do is we try to do takeaways with our trade partners, but also internally with our teams and say, hey, what's your takeaway from this project? Yeah. What did you learn? And it may be, hey, well, with this, you know, contractor, we need to handle it this way, bring them in a little earlier because of whatever, we had a conflict with this. Yeah. And so every project can be a takeaway. Share that with the team so that, you know, this superintendent isn't have to relearn that same lesson. Yeah. And so you know, learning how to train your team up and also share. You know, hey, you have, you know, a superintendent has 10, 15 years experience. Hey, lean on him. If you have a question, call him. Yeah. You know, let's collaborate with the issues, but also with your successes. Yeah. If you found a little you know, key that helped speed things up, hey, share it with the rest of the team. Maybe it'll something they never saw or looked at. So it really is good for us. So. Well, and that's kind of what this podcast is all about. You know, I want to put together the podcast almost for the same reason because, you know, I don't, most of the general contractors I talk to, they're knowledgeable, they know their stuff, but each one has just a little nugget of wisdom, just a little something they do a little bit differently. And so, you know, those takeaways hopefully are valuable for the people that do watch, and they can implement some of those takeaways in their own business. That's really the end goal and the end result that you know we want to see with the podcast is, hey, what's that little thing that you learned from this job, or you know, in this case, in your business as a whole, and how do you implement it, things like that. And so that eagerness to always want to improve and learn obviously is important for a business owner, but implementing that and making it a cultural thing, it sounds like, has been big in your business too. No, absolutely. And you know, it helps because ultimately if you had a challenge over here on this project and and you can share that with that guy, hopefully he can avoid that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have to be faced with the challenge. But when we are, let's give them the tools they need and the support they need to work through that. We work really hard, I think, to take care of both our employees and our subcontractors, and as well as our customers. And it's important, I think, and it shows character in how we treat people.
Yeah.
I mean, treat people how you want to be treated. It's just, I think it goes a long ways. It's a round world we live in, and if you treat people right, it's amazing how it'll come back. They'll talk good about you, your reputation, both the customer, the subcontractor. They'll want to work with you.
Yeah.
They'll want that because of that experience that they'll come back for the experience. And then it doesn't always just, with contracting, yes, we do have to be competitive. We live in it's a very competitive market, but you can bring value added with how you handle that experience.
Yeah.
We have implemented technology into our business with the plan management, RFIs and distributions, and there's a lot of tools out there, and we're seeing a flood of even AI tools.
Yeah.
So I think that there are improvements coming in the market, and we're going to have to learn how to keep our running shoes on and adapt quickly. But and we use all of that on our projects.
Yeah.
We get some trade partners that are a little old school, and they're like, hey,
they're pen and paper still.
Yeah, they still need the pen and paper, and we still have a set of plans on our projects. But ultimately, because hey, an ASI came out, or an RFI, or a correction, or an update came out, quickly distribute that to everybody on the team, and we invite all of our trade partners to our platform.
Yeah.
And say, hey, here's the current set of drawings. Make sure you're always going off of this so that you have access to the correct information to eliminate conflicts and issues.
Yeah. So I think the more technology comes in, the more things will change, but they'll still look the same, right?
Right.
But I think that's the interesting thing about the construction industry. I talk to tradespeople a lot, and they say, yeah, AI is not coming for my job, and it really isn't. There's not going to be a robot that's going to build a house, not anytime soon anyway, or swing a hammer probably. But the back end, the technology side of, all right, how do we go from nothing to an end build? Yeah. That technology just makes it more efficient, more effective, and helps with the communication, all of those things that we've been talking about.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to ask 2 more questions of you. I appreciate you. This has been really awesome, and thanks for sharing your expertise. But the first question I wanted to ask is, where do you see PRT Builders going in the next 5 years? Like, if everything goes right, you have a genie, fast forward 5 years, what does PRT Builders look like?
So ultimately, PRT, we want to be, we're in multiple markets, from healthcare to public warehouse manufacturing. We're in multiple markets, and ultimately what we want to do is we want to be a go-to for owners on commercial buildings to improve that experience.
Yeah.
And so I don't say that we want to just focus on one industry. Like, I know there's a big boom in, like data centers. There's a lot of talk about, that in town right now.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. But ultimately, there's always going to be a need, especially if we're growing, locally in our market as a state, as we continue. There's always going to need to be something built, whether that's a new manufacturing plant, or a restaurant, or a new clinic, or a new retail store, gas station, whatever that is, a new maintenance shop, or a manufacturing plant. And all of these bring value both to our local economy and to the market. Yeah. And so I think where we see us, we've been, I'd say, in the $10 to $12 million range per year. We would like to be I'd say in 5-10 years we would like to be in the $25-30 million range, but we want to focus on quality over quantity. Yeah, I know that sounds a little bit backwards, but I think people want a pleasant experience when they build their building.
Absolutely.
And they're willing to pay perhaps a little more for that. We work hard to be competitive, but I think if you will bring that value to the table, whether you're a plumber or an electrician or another general contractor, people are willing to pay for that. Yeah. They want your expertise. They want you to help them, and they want you to work through their project in a way that they're not keeping up at night, worried about their project. Yeah. They want you to solve the problems, hopefully anticipate and eliminate them, but looking ahead and saying, hey, this is how we're going to mitigate that. And when a problem does come up, we'll fix it. Yeah. We'll be a team player. Yeah. And we'll help mitigate that to where it doesn't become, this big boulder in the road that we're trying to steer around. Yeah. I love it. I love that you have sort of that monetary goal that, hey, we want to be doing, $25 million. That's the obvious goal. But you're saying, but to get there, we recognize it's more important that we keep the end customer experience, we keep the quality, we keep our values intact while we get to that point. Right. I think that's an important piece that, as businesses grow, you see the dollar signs and you start to drool a little bit. But I think it's so important that you keep, hey, this is what got us here. And, to get to the next step, we have to keep those values intact. That's right. Because, like you said, at the end of the day, a lot of times our name is on the door. People, our business is a reflection of us as the owners. And so if we don't have those values, the character of our business, like you were talking about earlier, it reflects poorly on our personal character. So I love that you stress that part. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And then the last question I like to ask is, you've been in business here for 8, almost 9 years, grown a lot, learned a lot. I'm sure you've read, had mentors, all those things. What's the best piece of business advice that you've been given over the course of owning your business? Best piece of business advice. That one's going to be a tough one. I think it's important to have empathy. People want you to care about them, both an employee, a subcontractor, or a customer. I think have empathy. I'd say the other advice would be in a business, you have to have a plan and a lot of, leadership training will teach people this, but you have to find a way to replace yourself, because otherwise it'll only grow as big as you can handle. Yeah. And so it's important that you have a strategic plan in, hey, let's find someone you can trust, bring them in, and start training them. Yep. So that you can hand off what you're doing, then help them train the next person and the next person, and you can grow that. Yeah. So now you have a whole team to shoulder, your company, but also now you can start duplicating yourself faster with. Because you can't really be in more places than once, unfortunately, as a business owner. Yeah. We always joke about, hey, as a business owner, we get to wear a lot of hats, and it's true, especially as a small business. And, finding ways that we can bring in people, because I don't have all the answers. Yeah. And I think it's important that we find people that you know and trust, and that are willing to share. Perhaps other people in the industry. Yeah. Perhaps it's a plumber. Perhaps it's a general contractor. Perhaps an electrician. Hey, someone that can help you with tips and tricks and say, hey, this is how I handled that kind of an issue. And there's a lot of information out there. Yeah. But I think finding people and surrounding yourself with a team can go a long ways to helping your success as a business.
It absolutely does. Yeah. And I love, I've heard you'll always be the bottleneck in your own small business.
Yeah.
So how do you look at, okay, what's the point that keeps falling on me, and how can I take myself out of that? How do I hire somebody? Because obviously I'm either not good at it or I just need help with it. Probably both. So how do I hire somebody for that to then say, all right, when this happens, I need you to be able to do this. And then you say, okay, now I'm not the bottleneck there. We'll let that system go for 3 to 6 months. All right, where am I the bottleneck now?
Yeah.
Right? That's, I've been in business now for 4 years, 4.5 almost years. And that's been our process. The first almost 2 years, we didn't hire anybody. Yeah. And we just got very stuck. And then I went full time and I realized, hey, I'm spending a lot of time on this task, like 15 hours a week on this one task. Yeah. If I hire somebody, I've got 15 hours a week to go find us new clients. I'll bet you I can land us 1 or 2 extra clients per month and justify paying somebody if I just don't have that 15 hours where I'm doing that thing. Yeah. And so, like, for me, that's really where I felt like I'm not self-employed. Oh, I actually am building a business.
That's right. Well, and it you can, as you grow as a business, it's fun to see it starts to snowball effect, right? Mm-hmm. You train, they help train, they start duplicating, and it really does help as a company to help take some of that load off of you, like you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes as business owners, we're just willing to roll up our sleeves and go solve that problem, and it's good. But we also have to identify, like, hey, we keep stepping in and solving that same problem again and again, and we're spending, like you said, 20, 30 hours a week on that one problem.
Yeah.
How can we either train the team or put somebody in a position to manage that, so that, like you said, you can focus on managing the business and hopefully working on the business, not just in the business.
Yeah. I always, the way I look at it is, can I automate it or can I delegate it?
Yeah.
Because I look first to automate because, as a small business, resources are limited. If I can, create a system that helps make that easier, I'll look at that first, just because usually that's more cost effective. And then it's like, okay, how do I delegate this? Even if I can automate it, who's going to watch that system?
Oh, yeah.
Is that somebody we have already? Do I need a new person? So, yeah, it's like you said, then you're working on the business, not just in it all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Really, and at least there's so much satisfaction at the end of the day, seeing that, hey, you can improve the lives of those around you.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of effort and planning, and but it can be so rewarding.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Rob, this has been really fun. I really appreciate you sitting down with me, sharing your expertise. I'm sure that those that are watching found it really valuable too. Where can people go to learn a little bit more about what you guys do?
So we have our website, prtbuilders.com, and we also have a LinkedIn. People can follow us, PRT Builders on LinkedIn, and we post updates about our projects there. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for letting me come by, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Check out their website, prtbuilders.com. I'll put a link down in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, though. This has been another episode of Wingin' It. Hopefully, by watching, you feel like you're winging it just a little bit less. We'll see you next week.